Hello, everyone, and welcome to another edition of the Gridiron Football Player of the Week show. I'm Jace LeJeune alongside Nick Mautone, and we have ourselves a new fresh face to the Gridiron Football lineup, and that is Grant Chachere. Grant's done an excellent job. He's one of the top up-and-coming sports writers out there, especially in Louisiana. He's been covering a lot of games for Louisiana Football Magazines, a lot of great stuff with Lee and Louisiana Football Magazine. Now he's with us and coming on board and helping us out in Gridiron Football. I can't be more excited to have Grant on board. And Grant, just welcome on board. Welcome to the Gridiron Football family.
Yeah, no problem. I'm very excited to be here. I've been covering sports for the last 2 years now. I kind of started with WGNL. I was stringing for them, covering high school football games in New Orleans, and I also got to cover the state championship games in New Orleans as well. And I've also been covering LSU football and LSU baseball, and then this is my first year covering high school sports full time. So I'm very excited to be on board, especially with Jace and Andy at Louisiana Gridiron Football.
Yeah, you're going to be seeing Grant a lot of times on Thursdays, Fridays, even Saturdays nights, covering a lot of times for high school football. So check him out. Give him a follow on Twitter. Give him your Twitter handle as well.
Yeah, it's my name, Grant Chachere, but my Twitter handle is Chachere Grant. It's just reverse the first and last name, basically.
Awesome. So he's going to help us provide a lot of content. He's going to be writing a lot of articles for us as well at Gridiron Football. So make sure to give Grant a follow. Nick, we've been doing the Player of the Week show, and I know Grant's pretty new to this as well, but we've been doing this as our second year of doing the Player of the Week show. It's been a hit. In fact, our last, couple weeks on our website, that's been the top consistent article for us. It's been the Player of the Week show. And last year was just Louisiana, but we've grown to be more of a national type brand. So we've actually had a Texas player become a Player of the Week before. But this week we have some honorable mentions from outside the state of Louisiana. But really this week it's top 10 is Louisiana centric, and we're going to talk about that. Nick, how excited about you are for Week 5 Player of the Week list? Because the first 4 weeks we had some pretty good players top the list.
We did, and I'm pretty excited for this list too. As always, we have a list full of crazy numbers. And starting off at number 10, we have the Houma running back, Jace Johnson.
Yeah, Jace Johnson, Terrebonne High School, was a very talented running back, and Grant really knows this because everybody talks about Colin Billiot and the receiver they have at Terrebonne, very talented receiver committed to LSU. But they have some good running backs too, and Jace Johnson's one of them. He had 15 carries, 245 yards, and 3 touchdowns for Coach Tyler Lewis. They're able to win big, 45-14. And right now, in that district, Grant, I would say it's one of the most underrated districts. You got Destrehan, East St. John, and everybody's thinking that's going to be a collision course for those two, but Terrebonne, they're kind of a sleeper in that district, and Jace Johnson, you can throw the football with some pretty good receivers, but Jace Johnson gives them some balance. 15 carries, 245, 3 touchdowns. That's pretty impressive.
Yeah, and Terrebonne has all when they have players, the special players like Colin Billiot and Mason Smith from a couple years ago, they tend to be one of those sleeper teams. Not only their district, but also 5A. When they have talent, they can beat anybody, no matter where they play or no matter what time, what day, it doesn't matter. And even though the district probably could be determined between East St. John and Destrehan, because those two teams will be undefeated, I think, by the time they play each other, I still think that Terrebonne adds another key piece to that district.
Well, the 2025 class in Louisiana at the running back position is loaded, and the guy that's really flying on the radar should be in that conversation is our number 9 pick.
Yeah, and at number 9, we have the Mandeville High running back, Nate Shepard.
Nate Shepard, we talk about all the great running backs. We're actually about to announce another one on this list as a 2025 guy. But Nate Shepard, if you haven't heard of that name, keep an eye on this kid. And he's one of the top running backs from the class of 2025. Had 11 carries. That was about it. Not many touches, but man, did he capitalize on those touches. 11 carries, 187 yards, and 4 touchdowns. That's pretty much half his carries went for touchdowns there. Big win for Craig Jones, 42-7. Over a talented and good Slidell team. We had them for a Gridiron Football Media Day. They came over and with their coaches and players. That's a talented team over there. So Craig Jones had a lot of success at Lakeshore, and he's doing a lot of really good things at Mandeville. And Nate Shepard, Grant, that's, you talk about sleepers. He could be a big one.
Usually in Louisiana, what I've noticed is that there's a lot of sleepers at the running backs position. I mean, you can even go to right now New Orleans at Warren East High School. Fred Robertson, who's a very good running back, a sleeper for sure. And then also you have Shane Lee from Dusherham,
right,
who's also a phenomenal running back, and he's gotten offers from schools like Miami. There's a few others too. So this state always produces a lot of sleeper running backs, and Nate Shepard's one of them. I think he's going to be whoever picks him up when he goes to college will be very lucky to have him. And he's also doing a pretty tough district, because even though none of those teams really stand out to you, all those teams they're kind of inseparable. So that district's going to come down the wire, and I think that's something that a lot of people should look out for.
Yeah, I think Mandeville only has one loss right now, so they've been rolling right now. Going to number 8, going to another team that's in that same area, Grant, Nick.
Yeah, coming in at number 8, we have Cortez Brown, the Archbishop Hannon running back.
Yeah, unfortunately came in a loss, so that's probably why he could have been higher, Cortez. But he was a guy that been to our Gridiron Football Media Day. He was here, and he's actually going to get the opportunity to play in a bowl game at the end of the year too. And he's a bruising running back, 318 yards and 4 touchdowns. Usually those numbers will help you, especially in high school, help you win. But we're going to have another running back, just a preview, that's going to be higher on the list. But a 60-41 loss to St. Thomas Aquinas. Very high-scoring game. Cortez Brown, at least he gave his team a really chance. I mean, every time he rushed for over 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. That's a pretty good night, no matter whether it's a win in the scorebook or a loss in the scorebook. So we go to number 7, and there's another guy that has been getting a lot of attention, getting a lot of offers at the running back position. It's all been about the running back so far,
that's
Nick.
Right. Yeah, coming in at number 7, we have the Opelousas High running back, Deshaun Ford.
Yeah, Deshaun Ford, very talented Opelousas team. They came over to our Gridiron Football Media Day, and actually Deshaun was there. He was one of the players that came to it. Appreciate Coach as well for bringing those guys. And yeah, he's been fantastic. I mean, he's one of the talented running backs in the 2025 class. 22 carries, 255 yards, and 4 touchdowns. Really, this is Coach Zachary. He's been around a lot of really talented teams, but he even told us in media day that this may be the most talented. And they rolled over a good Leesville team that has another really good running back too, and Xavier Ford. But Grant, I mean, just pounding the fact that Louisiana has a lot of really good running backs, and Deshaun Ford, 255 yards, 4 touchdowns is another night at the office for a talented running back.
Oh yeah, and it also helps that he also has a very talented team around him. I mean, one of his team is Corey Amos, is one of the top players in the country,
right?
Linebacker. So Deshaun Ford's one of those another running back that, even though like Louisiana doesn't have those big name running backs like they do obviously next year you have Jane Simon and Harlan Berry, but this class has a lot of great running backs that are kind of falling under the radar, and Deshaun Ford's one of them, and he also playing on a really good Opelousas team, and the farther Opelousas goes down the season, including the playoffs, he's going to get a lot of mentions because of who he has around him as well. And usually, a lot of the times, there's sleepers who are on very good teams. If they're doing well and the other players are doing well, they're going to get mentions as well too. So
yeah, right.
You see that a lot too.
Well, Deshaun's a load. I mean, he's like 230 pounds.
Yeah,
he can run like a 4-5.
And that also helps you that you're 230 pounds, right. Like bearing over people, man.
Right. But there's a transition, though. It's not just about the running backs. We're going to make a transition to a wide receiver, Nick.
We sure are. And coming in at number 6, we have the Westminster Christian wide receiver, David Beasley.
Well, a team as far as passing the football, nobody's going to really talk much about them because they're still in JV. They still got a couple years in JV to go through before making the full-time transition to varsity. You have a Westminster Christian in Opelousas that everybody knows about, but there's also a Westminster Christian in Lafayette. This is the one in Lafayette. David Beasley had 8 catches, 207 yards and 3 touchdowns, and he just went off. I mean, anytime you can have over 200 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns and 8 catches is very impressive. And the thing is, they lost the game. It was a shootout, a little bit like the LSU Ole Miss game we saw, 50-43. They lost to North Iberville. So North Iberville is still undefeated in their JV schedule. Even though that's a JV game, there was lots of varsity action right there. So David Beasley really performing really well for Westminster Christian and Coach Stomps. So we go up to our top 5. So we went through 5, our halfway point to the Player of the Week list. Nick, who we have at number 5?
We have the Zachary quarterback, Hudson Spangler.
Yeah, everybody, that was a question mark, before the season, who was going to replace Eli Holstein at Zachary High School. Well, it was a quarterback competition. Both quarterbacks, I saw them in the fall for a small fall scrimmage. They both looked pretty good. But it was like Hudson Spangler's really cemented himself with this game as the guy at Zachary. Anytime you can go to West Monroe, one of the most daunting places to play in Louisiana, and get a win, and not only a win, but dominant fashion. He was 18 for 25, 331 yards, and 5 touchdowns in a 48-7 win over West Monroe. I mean, Hudson Spangler was magnificent. We all know he's got a lot of really good skill players around him, but Hudson Spangler doing that on the road against West Monroe. And every time Coach Brewerton texts you, hey Jace, you got nominated this guy for Player of the Week. Yeah, I think Hudson Spangler's really established himself as the QB1 over there.
Oh yeah, 100%. Zachary. It's all. The thing about Zachary is that they've always been known around this Louisiana to be a quarterback school. Like Lindsey Scott,
Right.
Keelan Brown, Eli Holstein, as of recently. So they've always been known to develop quarterbacks and develop them all and bring them to the next level. Now they went through a transition year because a lot of people were like, okay, who's the quarterback going to be this year for Zachary? And they knew, everyone knows they have talent, including Tredash Green, but how is the quarterback's position going to perform this year? And in a sense, like a rebuilding year in the offense. Well, he just threw for 300 yards because a very talented West Monroe team that has always been known to be very physical and has one of the greatest high school football dynasties in the state. So that's no easy feat. And I think if he has performances like that down the road, Zachary, you should not sleep on Zachary. They're a very, very good team. They've always going to have talent, and you may see in the Dome this year again too.
Yeah, very well could. I mean, every time I think Brewerton's been there, they made at least to, I think, the quarterfinals. So every year. So they're known to make big runs. So, Nick, we had a quarterback at number 5, but we go back to the ground game at number 4.
We do, and we come in with a linebacker / running back from St. Thomas Aquinas High School, Kendall Perry.
Yeah, Kendrell Perry. Yeah. So Kendrell Perry from St. Thomas Aquinas actually called his game against Episcopal, and Kendrell Perry's a load to bring down. He's a big back for St. Thomas Aquinas, and they leaned on that big back in that game. 175 yards rushing, had 17 yards receiving, 3 touchdowns, had a 2-point conversion. But the reason why he's in the top 5 is because he was a two-way player. When you're playing at the two-way level and below, you're asked to do a lot of things, and he did. 13 total tackles, 2. That's a whole game for just a player on one side of the football, but he did it on both sides. 13 total tackles, 1.5 TFLs. Add that to a 3-touchdown rushing performance, and that was the head-to-head win over our number 8 player, Cortez Brown. So Kendrell Perry, congratulations, Coach Mulhern and really that whole Falcons team. Kendrell Perry had himself a pretty good day. Was very impressed with this player. Even though they lost against Episcopal, calling that game, very impressed. Came out away very impressed with Kendrell Perry. Now, Nick, would go into our top 3.
We sure do, and coming in at number 3, we have Westminster Christian's quarterback, Brock Stomps.
That was David Beasley's quarterback, the guy we talked about from Westminster Christian. I know we talked about we'll talk a lot about Jaden Daniels and how he just went off in a loss, but Brock Stomps, coach of head coach Jim Stomps, he feels the same way as Jaden because he had a winning performance. You complete 28 of 47 passes for 470 yards and 6 touchdowns. And here's the kicker. He had another touchdown. First play of the game was called back because of holding. So he should have had 7 touchdowns and close to 600 yards of offense in that game. So Jim Stomps is the head coach. That's his dad. Brock Stomps is the quarterback. So really great father-son head coach quarterback relationship, and it really works out in terms of communication and just them coming together because hey, they're father and son, so it works out beautifully. So what do you think about that? 50-43, you have 2 top 10 players but yet they still lost. It shows you what kind of game that really was.
Yeah, and the thing about those type of games is that, unfortunately, when you measure those numbers, you have to feel bad for the defense. Unfortunately, kind of like with LSU, it's like, oh boy, I mean, they kind of let this historic performance go to waste. But I think, a lot of times, those are teaching moments for a lot of schools. Is not only on the offensive side of the ball, but the defensive side of the ball as well. Like, if you work coherently as a group, you're going to win a lot of those games where your offense puts up, over 516 yards of total offense. So I think as the program grows, as it keeps building, I think you won't see many of those games again. Because if you put an offensive performance like that, you have a chance to win every single game.
And before we go to number 2, just give a shout out to Coach Jim Stomps. He's doing an excellent job building that program up. So if you're in the area, make sure to check out Westminster Christian WCA and see them work, because that's a very, obviously, an entertaining team to watch. So go and check them out if you're in the area. Now, Nick, we go to number 2.
We sure do. And coming in at number 2, we have is it East Feliciana?
Yes, East Feliciana. Yep, good catch.
Yep, their running back, Herman Baptiste.
Yep, Herman Baptiste. From East Feliciana, they had a running back that was really good, called a lot of his games, Stanley Gilmore, but I think he's banged up right now, so they need another option. That's Herman Baptiste right now. And you can say with the numbers, 10 carries. He averaged pretty much about 28 yards a carry there. Wow. I mean, 285 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns on only 10 carries. Also had an interception on defense and a fumble recovery on defense. I actually went to the spring game for East Feliciana, and Coach Matthews, talking to him in the spring, he was really high on Herman Baptiste, and he's been doing a lot of really good things. Got a big win over Livonia, 42-8. So we're seeing that offense starting to click, and Herman Baptiste, it hurts not having Stanley Gilmore out there, but to rely on another guy like Herman Baptiste, that shows you, hey, we got offensive skill players at East Feliciana. So we go to our number 1. So just a bit of a recap. We've had some big star names come in, winning our last couple weeks. Parker Fulgham from Evangel Christian, he was our player of the week. Last week we had Juwan Johnson. He was our week 1 player of the week after his 8 touchdown performance. He's been amazing, Grant. Yeah. And we just Harlan Berry also was our player of the week too. So a lot of star power. But Nick, I know we mentioned Juwan Johnson is not LCA, is not Lafayette Christian, but we do have a Lafayette quarterback as our number 1 player this week.
That's right, and it's Kevon'te Landry with an absolutely crazy stat line.
Yeah, Coach Kramer is at Lafayette, and Coach Kramer actually learned, he was on that Evangel tree, was at Evangel as an assistant. Now he's at Lafayette as a head coach. Was at Patterson last year, and their quarterback at Patterson played in our bowl game and led the state in passing last year. So you knew when Coach Kramer came in to Lafayette, they're going to throw the football, and he found himself his QB1, Kevon'te Landry. He was amazing. 17 for 27, 337 yards, 5 touchdowns through the air. But he's a dual threat too. 14 carries, 112 yards, 3 touchdowns. So if you're adding it all up, 449 total yards and 8 total touchdowns. Just amazing, Grant. What a performance that was.
Yeah, and the thing about Kevon'te Landry is that he not only is we've always known he's an athlete because he also plays basketball too.
Right.
So he's an extremely athletic player, but he also has the ability to throw the ball on the field. And as you see, 337 yards and 5 touchdowns. I mean, that's an incredible performance. And he's honestly, I think, is a sleeper recruit. No, I don't think he may or may not play quarterback at the next level, but wherever he's going to play, he's going to get the ball in his hands, and he's going to do something with it. And he's also one of the many quarterbacks in that Lafayette area. You have Preston Welch, who's another sleeper. You have Sam Allman, who's another, I think is another sleeper. And then you obviously have Juwan Johnson, who, by the way, I think he's going to play DB at the next level, but he could play DB right now for LSU because they really need it, like right now. But just a lot of talent, not only at quarterback in the Lafayette area, but just overall at every single position. Lafayette's really booming with the talent, and you're going to see that in the next 3 classes as 2025, 2026, and 2027 are going to be extremely loaded.
Oh, you're definitely right about that, Grant. I mean, really the quarterback position just overall, the next couple classes, I mean, it really started to boom in the last year's class with Arch and Ricky and Eli, but it's going to grow into really the 2027 classes. I mean, you saw Elijah Haven in the Southern Lab game too. So yeah, he's going to be another.
And then Pops Houston, who was at Calvary, but now he transferred midseason to Evangel. And then also 2026, you have Luke Delafield out of North Dakota.
Right. Yeah.
And I'd like to throw a Chance Babineau in there too.
Oh yeah, very good one.
That's another Lafayette quarterback too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got a chance to see him as well. So I know we talked a whole lot of Louisiana, but we have some Texas guys. Caden Dixon was our honorable mention from Center, Texas, and one of the top running backs out there. I mean, really under recruited. He's got an offer from ULM, but I think he's a Division I good. So we got nominee, I believe, from Allen, Texas too. So we got 2 nominees, I believe, from Allen, Texas. So I know the last couple of weeks we had some from Alaska, Florida, Alabama. So Florida. I mean, it's just been going on and on about. We appreciate all the coaches out there for sending your nominations, and that's the thing here. All these nominations that we just rattled off. These are all guys that are nominated by the coaches. So that's the only way you come on this list. I know a lot of people have been asking Jace, what does it take to get on this list? Your coach, he's going to have to send the stats. So we appreciate all the coaches that spend time with their weekend and submit this. I know they're really busy looking at film for the next week, but to spend time and submit that, their players is pretty, kudos to them for doing that. All right, guys. Nick, you have any final thoughts? Just looking at the list and just what you thought about Kevon'te being our number 1 player this week.
That might be the best performance we've seen this year. We've had a lot of 7 touchdown performances, but not 8 that I can remember in the 5 weeks we've been doing this year.
Yeah, I think Jawan had 8. So we have 2.
He might have had 8.
Yeah, 2 Lafayette quarterbacks. Both have 8 touchdowns. So I don't know.
Pretty crazy. I mean, 7 is pretty crazy, but not unheard of. 8's very rare to do. So congratulations to Kevon'te. Congratulations to everyone on the list.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll have more on this, too, on our website, gridironfootballusa.com. You'll get to read all about these nominees and their whole stat lines and have the honorable mentions as well. So I appreciate y'all, guys. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We'll also have the Football Huddle coming up here as well. So this is actually distributed all the way around Baton Rouge. We have over 10,000 newsletters mailed out. If you're not in the Baton Rouge area, well, we also have a digital online version of the newsletter as well. Grant, looking for you to come on board with us. We're super excited for you helping us out, producing a lot of great content. Nick, continue doing an excellent job. I know he's out there covering the Southeastern games as well. So I appreciate y'all guys. Thanks for watching. Congratulations to Kevon'te Landry. And we'll see y'all next week for Week 6, Gridiron Football Player of the Week.